Harmony Gold, and I've got a great group of quotes here for you today. Actually, this gentleman just popped up at the last minute. This is Ford Riley, the writer of Robotech the Shadow Chronicles. And I have to say I'm working because he's also heading up the work on Disney's Lion Guard, the continuation of the Lion King franchise. So, many kudos to Mr. Riley. And also we have here Mr. Steve Yoon from Harmony Gold as well. He's also working on the Robotech projects. And we've got Scott Glasgow, our very talented composer, who composed the music for Shadow Chronicles and Love of Life. And Cesar Totoro, who's working with us very recently. He became known because he was an extremely talented CG artist who had worked on Robotech fan films. And he came to a lot of people's attention. And so we're grateful to have him here with us today. Scott, who did the awesome sound work on Robotech Love Live. He also works on big pictures, and so we're very humbled to have him here with us. And last but not least, the Grand Poobah, Greg Snegoff. He is one of the original writers of the original series and he voiced also most of the coolest characters on the series. Greg, you want to say something to the audience?
What would you have me say, my crew? Don't be wasting their time. Let's get on with it.
Yes, he's the gentleman with the $1 million voice. By the way, Greg, you're also working on another anime right now.
Absolutely. At the moment, it's called Seven Seas. It's also known as Legend of Blue. You've seen it in its original form. It's going to be coming out, well, we'll be delivering the first 13 episodes about October for Lion Forge. You've probably seen them down in the hall below. And it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. We've got a lot of the Robotech crew on it, so you're going to recognize them.
The hors d'oeuvres at that. One of these command keys is surely trapped. These mafia guys are a pain in the butt. First they hide the key to the job, you know how it is.
Captain, I hate to break the moment, but we've initiated detonation sequence.
You'd figure they'd quit playing around by this time.
Greg, do you want to tell the audience a little bit about the work you're doing here on Seven Seas?
The process, you mean?
Just in general about the project.
It's kind of Robotech underwater. It's our team of the do-gooders saving the world, headed by our captain, courageous Westlaw, and his very capable team. And they are marine salvage experts, and they have this incredibly advanced, technologically developed submarine with a lot of fun toys, as you can see. And they go around saving the world and foiling plots by the evil Black Dragon gang, which actually exists, though not in that form. And there's going to be 26 half hours. It's going to be a lot of fun, and this is just a very small taste. We are doing the voice work now. We've rewritten all of the stories, and now we're doing all of the voicing. And then we will dump everything on Jamie's head, and he's going to redo all of the sound effects magnificently. And then we will mix it. It'll be out by October. It'll be ready by October. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Now, getting back on the track for Robotech specifically, our big story last year was Robotech role-playing games, where Palladium had moved from the pen and paper genre, and they started moving towards the RPG gaming miniatures. And they went to Kickstarter to launch this product, and it was a humongous success for them. And so when they put it on Kickstarter, they had launched a Robotech RPG Tactics franchise. And when they went to the Kickstarter campaign, they started with a very modest start. They started with a $70,000 start for the basic package, basically to raise the funds and capital for it, and they ended up raising $1.4 million for that. And so these are some of the awesome packages that they've got going on right now. You've got in the bottom left-hand corner, that's a shrunk-down version with that's the set, the starter set, and then you also can have these individual add-ons of the different gaming figures that you want to add on to the RPG game. And the game is presently in manufacturing. Of course, originally they projected they were going to have it done by the end of last year. This was if they had started with the original set that was going to be for $70,000 in capital. But then when they went over $1 million, they went through all these stretch goals, and they ended up greenlighting like 10 times as many figures as they originally planned to. And so that kind of put a dent in their schedule. So they're kind of late with the fans and kind of understanding, you know, of course, we're screaming bloody murder, but it is finally shipping. So these are the units being shipped over to the US from overseas. And here is Kevin Sabina. He actually had a vote put up on the Kickstarter to have preview units available at Gen Con. So I don't know any of you, if you are super nutty RPG fans, where you're going to go to the RPG Mecca in the Midwest, but at Gen Con he's going to have preview units available there, and they're going to be demoing the game and playing with fans. So the Kickstarter backers, they will be getting their boxes. They will be shipping at the end of August, so expect to have them receiving around September. And then general retail, they will ship it into the retail channel around September, and then those should start showing up in the stores around October. So that's the scheduled timetable that they currently have at Toy Game. So this is something that worked out really, really well for them. We're really happy for them and very impressed by what they did. The other project that we had just wrapped up earlier this year was last year we announced that we were moving the Robotech novelizations to ebooks. And this is the result. We had new editions done of all the novelizations. And so there was a lot of chatter about how the universes don't line up. So actually this time what we've actually done is where the novels were actually inconsistent with themselves. We actually had some editorial work to make sure that the novels were consistent in the universe, within the novel universe at least. And then where there were differences between the novels and the TV series, we actually added appendices. So fans who might be confused about how the novel does this, TV show does that, the appendices actually list out differences in the universes, and even the changes made in the novels, just so that there's transparency about things that were changed, like, you know, spellings of names, like, it's all in the appendix, so you can go on. It's different in this edition, so you can see exactly what was done between versions. And this is available through all the different ebook services, such as Amazon, Apple, and we also put in the work towards the in-between books, the books that were really hard to find. So stuff like Mr. Trolley Rebellion, the Sentinels, the Infant Storm, and even the End of the Circle. So all those really hard to find books are now back available electronically. And then, of course, since this is Comic-Con, we've got Robotech and Voltron now. Last year when we announced this, there was a lot of head scratching about this, but we took this very, very seriously when we were adapting this. We wanted to play with the universe, but do it as a character study. Like, basically mash up the universe, have things change, where Rick disappears from the universe, and Roy is the one who grows old and becomes a senior officer. And this is, we've now actually shipped through the first 4 out of 5, and we're actually wrapping up work on the last issue right now. And so this is a crossover project between Dynamite and DC. And I'm really impressed by the team that's put this book series together. Elmer DeMassa, the lead artist on this, has been absolutely awesome. And let's see. Yes, the important themes for this is monsters and robots, mullets, and mice. So there's a little role for everything in this story. So we wanted to stay true to the roots. And not just the Robotech series, also the Voltron series. A lot of research was done into the backstories of both. So when Robotech and Voltron was first suggested, we were like, how do we make that work? And we actually met with the folks at World Events, the folks who hold the Voltron projects, and we actually talked about the backstories of the universe, and they were like, hey, you think we can make it work? Because most of the time with crossovers, it's a punchline, and then after the punchline, the story runs out of gas. And we wanted to make sure, making this a character study, you learn about the characters and story. So like here, in this case, the universes are different. Characters get to do things that they normally wouldn't in the universe. This is like a one chance to do a big what-if to the Robotech universe. And so one of the things in the Voltron universe is everybody wonders, what is this mystery about King Alfor? He's this mysterious king that is missing, gone by the time Princess Allura is being raised in orphan. And then, so you get to see some of his backstory on how this came to be. And then same with Lloyd Forker. How did he get adopted into the Hunter family? Why does, like, if you look at the events of the graphic novel written by Carl Mason back in the 80s, Roy and Rick are raised as brothers in an extended family, and you're wondering how did that circumstance come together? And so in this backstory that was written, Rick and Roy's fathers actually served together in Operation Desert Storm, so this is the backstory we wrote together. And so they had made a promise among themselves to raise their sons in case when something happened to the other. And so we have that story development. And also some of the really cool designs that are going into the comic series by Robert Camasso. And here is a peek at issue 4, which just came out. And then here's a sneak peek of issue 5. Which hasn't come out yet, and here is a scene in which the Chiron's forces are actually attempting to steal one of the lions. So there's interesting conspiracies ensue with that. Now, we have this great relationship with Digital Art Chefs and Elmer Damaso. We're working with them out of the Philippines on the Robotech and Voltron book. But there's some folks who would ask, what about me? Little Comics has worked on the Robotech series since the early 2000s. They have worked on almost every single one over all these years. So people are wondering, what's their role with Robotech right now? You're going to find out something really cool from these guys this Saturday. So any of you who are going to be here at the convention on Saturday at 5:30, I recommend you go to the Uno County and find out something mind-blowing about Robotech that's going to be coming out from Uno Comics, and it's going to be awesome. So, now, getting onto the track of animated Robotech, let's see, the most recent box set we just had come out, we didn't have this ready in time for an announcement at last year's Comic-Con, so this actually came out for the holiday season. This came out last Christmas. And the 2013 box set is the everything box set of Robotech. It has Shadow Chronicles, Love Live Live, all the remastered episodes. It's got even the obscure Sentinels movie. It even has the rare first broadcast, if you caught it the first time it ran before the reruns version of the episodes where the audio is a little bit different. Yeah, it's in that box set, yes. Okay, and it even has the action figure commercials, and it even has the comic covers. Basically, it's a kitchen sink box, and so almost everything is here. And it's being released internationally. So these are like different versions being released internationally. And how many of you saw Love Live Live last year when it came out? Wow, it's only like what? 30-40% penetration? Wow. Okay, you know what? I'm disappointed that not more of you have heard about this. Okay, Love Live Live is something that Scott had worked on. He did some of the new music on it, which was awesome. And Jamie did the audio work on it, which was awesome. Here, let me give you a little taste of this. We wanted Love Live Live to be such a throwback, we even tracked down the original narrator who everybody thought was dead.
Even while I was working.
Yeah. What was funny was we asked his colleagues, do you know the JJ guy? And they were like, yeah, one foot in the grave back in '85. And so that's how dead they thought he was, but he wasn't dead. He was like, why does everybody keep thinking I'm dead? All right, so here trailer, we cut it 1985 style.
Join us next time as Scott, Rand, Rook, Annie, Lunk, Ariel, and Lancer are reunited one last time. Be sure to watch Love Live Alive, the next dramatic chapter in the Robotech saga.
All right, you guys feel like you're teenagers here, right? So one of the nice things that was included in the new box set is we included a Making of Love Live where we got all the cast together talking about their experiences, you know, back in the 80s, coming back to do another 80s style production, trying to replicate that 80s look again. And we even have a rare interview with the narrator, which is absolutely awesome because he sounds nothing like the narrator. The narrator sounds nothing like the narrator. In fact, we had to have Greg, who was the original dialogue director back in 85, who probably directed it for like a bunch of that. Do you remember directing it back then? Yeah, so he directed it back then, and he had to direct it again. Do you want to talk a little bit about the process, how you got him to get his original voice back?
It must be the air of Los Angeles, but none of the actors have aged in his vocal. It's quite astounding. They all sound exactly the same. JJ Smith, the narrator, he sounds exactly the same, with just a little bit of tooth action, if you understand what I'm saying. And he had to listen to his original and imitate himself to get the narration back, because he doesn't talk that way.
Yeah, I think
No
he's
human being really talks that way.
I think he's from Nebraska, and
Very much so.
here's how he sounds like normally. Here, you're going to get a kick out of this.
Actually, our legal name is John J. Smith. My stage name is J. Washington. I was an average.
In the year 2031,
Yeah, it's the same guy.
Reflex Point in North America, a phenomenal event occurred in the skies, an event that once again altered the course of human history.
I know I'm right. I've narrated 1,250 industrials, which is narration, and I got pretty good at it. But today, we took the encyclopedia for data and condensed them into 2 pages.
Oh,
That's actually how he dubbed most of it. We hung him upside down.
you know, actually, this is a weird thing that's been happening ever since Anime Expo. These new video projectors have been turning the pictures upside down. I don't know what's up with that bug. So anyway, also a lot of the making-ofs that we've had actors come back, and some fans have asked us, you know, how come there's nothing about the process back in the 80s? You know, is there a way to have a time machine to see how Robotech was put together back in 85? You know, instead of these more recent making-ofs that we've been doing. Well, guess what? Mr. Dexter O'Donnell down here, he actually went to Intersound while Robotech was being worked on back in the 80s. And he did a student film about Robotech being worked on, being put together as a student film project, the making of Robotech. And then he turned it in as his school assignment. And then the faculty forgot about it. And so when I found out that he did this back then, I was like, oh my goodness, we have to track this down. And when he contacted the faculty was like, well, you know, when we went from analog to digital, you know, all these student films, they're mostly terrible, we threw most of them away. And then we were like, oh, that's too bad, you know, some of them were Robotech. Oh yeah, there was this one Robotech one. Yeah, that was kind of interesting. Yeah, that was the one we saved. Did I paraphrase it about right? Yeah, okay. There was some embellishment there, but, you know, somewhere in the ballpark. But, so, to make a long story short, only a small minority of their old materials were saved, and Robotech happened to be one of them. And so, hence, we ended up with Robotech the Inside Story, the making of Robotech back in 1985. Here, we'll show you just a little short snippet of that.
Robotech has a cast of actors who perform the voices for the characters. Reba West is one of them.
Well, I guess the main difference is that live acting is on screen where you're actually in front of the camera, like, you know, in a sitcom or on stage or, in a film, whereas voiceover is anything that's being done in a recording studio for, say, cartoons or commercials on radio.
Greg, you really worked in that room?
Oh yeah, for 7 months straight, 20 hours a day, non-stop. All the directors were in there, probably didn't wash their cars for 7 months, had their pockets stuffed with checks they couldn't cash, couldn't get the bank to cash, had hair down their butts because we couldn't get the barbecue out. It was about 7 months, it was about a year and a half worth of work done in 7 months, so it was pretty intense. And the fact that we were able to do what we did in that amount of time, and thank God for all these extremely talented actors, it wouldn't have been possible.
So, that's actually folding. We don't have time for that. All right. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, we actually have the whole film queued up, but that's a DVD extra that, unfortunately, if it was a 2-hour panel, we'd be able to run it. One more new announcement is fans have been happy with all our home video releases, but there was a small, well, very vocal minority of fans who really wanted their old scratchy mono mix from 1985, and they want all their nasty film grain. They wanted to look like the way it was broadcast in 1985. So Lionsgate caved in, and they're doing a classic collection, which is the original tape elements, analog tape elements from 1985. They actually transferred this to DVD, and so if you want to relive that, it is Robotech Classic Collection with the original broadcast version, and it's also paired up, odd and even discs. It's paired up with the original Macross Japanese versions of the episodes, so you can compare them side by side. And so this is all in one box set. They're going to be releasing this in sets of 18 episodes at a time. And so this is actually a really awesome set for those of you who really want to get back in a time machine back then. So, I know there's, people who like the 5.1 surround, awesome effects, but there were a lot of people, they, rather than the fanciness of it all, they just wanted their nostalgia. So now, next in the pipeline.